and welcome to the Create Cocktail Christmas Masterclass. Today we are going to be making Lillet mimosas. My name's Jessie.
And I'm Simon.
I'm going to talk you through everything that you've got included in your kit, everything that you will need to create some gorgeous drinks. So you've got some Lillet Blanc. Now Simon, tell us a little bit about what Lillet Blanc actually is.
So Lillet Blanc is made in Bordeaux. It's what we call a wine-based aperitif. Okay. It's basically a blend of white wines that all come from the Bordeaux region. They are also aged for 3 to 6 months and blended with some sort of fruit macerations. Things like orange peel, honey is definitely in there as well. So it's an incredible, what we call a wine-based aperitif. Great before a meal.
Exactly.
To open up the stomach. As an aperitif, also good as a digestif as well.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of it as a spritz, maybe just with some tonic water. And of course, during the festive period, what's more better than a sort of like a Christmassy mimosa?
Sounds very refreshing, so I think it's going to go beautifully with the Campo Cava that you've all got. And then you've also got some mandarin syrup and some fresh orange juice, and then an orange that we're going to be using to garnish, and a very cute little bottle of Angostura bitters.
It makes me feel like a giant, Jessie.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, we're also going to be needing some equipment today as well, so I'll walk you through what you're going to need. You're going to be needing a wine glass, first of all. What I've got here is a measure, or a jigger. So this measures 50 millilitres on the larger side, and on the smaller side, 25 millilitres as well. I've also got a bar spoon, but if you don't have one of these long, fancy bar spoons, not to worry. Just find a teaspoon or a tablespoon, anything will work. And then obviously I've got a chopping board and a knife as well. And most importantly, my favourite saying, Jessie.
Ice is nice.
Sick of hearing it by now. But yeah, ice is nice. So we've got lots of cubed ice here. Make sure you've got loads ready to hand as well when creating this cocktail.
Fab. What do we have, Simon? What can we use at home if we don't have a jigger?
That's a good question. So if you don't have a jigger, an egg cup will measure 50 millilitres, give or take. You could also use a single shot glass because that'll be 25 millilitres. Okay. So you could work with that. So have a look, see what alternatives you have. Even if it's just a measuring jug that can measure 25 and 50 millilitres, that will work.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Let's get cracking.
I think
Can't wait for one of these.
Amazing. So we're going to start with our Lillet Blanc. Now I'm going to pour 50 millilitres straight into my wine glass. So this is the larger side of my jigger if you're using a jigger at home. Now Jessie, do you know why Lillet is famous?
I feel like you might have told me before, Simon, but I can't remember.
Well,
but
remind
me. You tell everybody his favourite fun facts.
Remind
me.
So Lillet was famous for the James Bond books written by Ian Fleming. You may be familiar with a cocktail called the Vesper Martini.
Beautiful.
So Lillet was used in the original recipe written by Ian Fleming in the James Bond book. So it was used in the Vesper Martini. So that's why it's got a lot of love in these sort of really high-end cocktail bars.
So that's why it's your favourite drink, because it makes you James Bond, is that right?
I mean, I wasn't going to say it, but you've probably hit the nail on the head. So we've got 50 ml Lillet Blanc in our wine glass. We're now going to go in with, of course, a little bit of orange juice. So I'm going to use 25 millilitres, which is the smaller side of my measure. That's going to go straight in the wine glass, nice and easy. And if you are using a jigger at home, make sure you go right to the top, because the top of the measure is that full 25 millilitres. If you're going a little bit below, that is less. That's going to be about 20 millilitres.
Don't sell yourself short.
This is your cocktail. You want to enjoy this, right? Get the most out of it. So we've got our orange juice. Now we've got some mandarin syrup as well. Now we don't need a lot of this because it's quite a nice cocktail. We don't want to make it overly sweet. So we're going to be using 5 millilitres.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people don't know this, but a teaspoon or a bar spoon is approximately, give or take, it's about 5 millilitres. So I'm going to use this when measuring my syrup. But like I said, a teaspoon works just fine as well.
All this citrus that's going into it sounds like it really complements the Lillet really nicely.
There's definitely some citrus notes in there. They're quite secretive about their recipe with Lillet, but I can if you smell it, you can definitely smell some like orange peel coming through, which is why it's going to work really nicely with the orange juice, the mandarin syrup. We're also going to be needing some Angostura bitters. So I've got, as you mentioned, the cutest bottle of Angostura bitters ever.
Absolutely adorable.
We don't need much of this. Just a few little drops will work nicely. Just 2 drops there. Perfect.
Beautiful.
I'll pop that down to the side. And then what we need most importantly, ice is nice, everybody. So we're going to chop this up with cubed ice. And I always recommend getting as much ice in there as possible. That's going to slow down the dilution and it's not going to water down the ingredients in your wine glass. And then of course,
Now time for the best bit.
the bubbles.
The bubbles.
We are going to need some bubbles. So I've got some Campo Carver here. So we're just going to top this straight up.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
Oh, I'm getting thirsty now.
Nice. And then what I always recommend to anybody, if this is on a bar, if this is at home, doesn't matter, is to always leave what I call a wash line, which is about a finger's width from the top of the glass. This just means, you know, if we're dancing around, we're having a good time, Jessie, I'm not going to spill any anywhere. So I always recommend a wash line. I've got a little spoon here as well, just to make sure it's all mixed together. Just once or twice, give it a little stir. Doesn't need much. And then of course need some garnish.
Of course, yeah.
So we're going to garnish this with some fresh orange. I'm going to try and get a nice little wheel that'll slot in quite nicely.
This really is like a beautiful, refreshing, citrusy drink, isn't it?
It is, and I think, you know, that fresh orange during the festive period, it's very, very popular. You find it in a lot of food and a lot of drinks around this sort of festive time. So I've just, as you can see here, chopped a nice orange wheel.
Beautiful.
I'm just going to pop that in at the top there. So that is our Lillet Christmas Mimosa. Hope you viewers at home enjoy it. Hope you enjoy it, Jessie.
Cheers. Thank you very much, Simon.
Thank you. Cheers, everybody. Oh, that's delicious.
Wow, that's really refreshing.
I think that's perfect for that Christmas morning.
Definitely a good idea, yeah. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today in creating Lillet Christmas Mimosas. If you've enjoyed and want to share on Instagram, don't forget to tag and follow Create Cocktails and Lillet, and you could be in with a chance to win a Christmas drinks hamper. So thank you so much, everyone, and cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Simon.
Cheers.